Even my vision became sharper. I saw every inch icy branch, every dent in the bark. A vivid object was lying near the bushes, a piece of clothing. There was another colorful spot to the right. Ishla was losing her clothes on the run, like shedding her skin. Excited to no end, I took off my mittens with my teeth. I'll get naked and feel the wind with every pore. Faster. I reached out to take my hat and throwing away. Even that stopped me from running wild like this in the endless forest. The backpack slowed me down, so I threw it in the snow along with all the pens that were inside, all the notebooks, all my drawings, all the sidelines and dinosaurs for Oya. Oya? Suddenly a clear picture appeared in my mind. My sister standing still near the window, basking in the setting sun. Her small palms were pressed against the glass, leaving marks after warming it up. She couldn't have warmed up the whole world like that. She's looking at the Tinja, repeating my name.
Tosha!
I stopped to look at the deep breath and realized how rash and stupid I was trying to underrest the middle of a forest while chasing a fox. I turned to get my backpack. I dropped it as if it was a part of my being. Once more I remembered how much my sister hated being left alone. How she begged me to come home faster. What kind of brother am I? Running in the same forest I used to scare my sister with. I'm having fun while she's not even allowed out of the front door. She's trapped in a cage, watching the same cartoons over and over.
Tosha! Да, Оленька.
Yes, Oya?
Тоша, а куда?
Where are you?
Куда так скачешь,
Where are
чмошник?
you? Hoping to... Whoa! 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 Where are you hoping to fucker? Whoa! Whoa! From the darkness behind the pines, just like a caveman from the cave appeared, smirking Simeon with a bunch of cronies. Oh no!
Ну, здорово,
Yo,
Антошка.
Antoni Scotia.
Не вышло
Look,
сдрыснуть, да?
thought you could slip away, huh?
Очкарик,
Check out
привет,
this
Старик,
four-eyed freak, huh? This is the one with no front teeth. They surrounded me like a carnivorous pride, making me step back. The smell of sweet and tobacco attacked my nostrils. The inside of my mouth felt salty as if I licked a battery.
Алиса!
Alisa. The name of my companion tunneled in the stifled cough. Pines were swaying back and forth like solemn guardians. I was frankly looking everywhere. I dreamt of finding that fox among the trees, expected her to come to my rescue. But only the wind replied to my pleas.
Где Алиса?
Where's Alisa?
Что вы с ней сделали?
What did you do to her? I shuddered upon hearing my voice. I sounded unnatural, primal, and scary.
Какая
Who the
ещё
fuck
Алиса?
is Alisa?
У тебя чё,
Did you hit your
кукуха
head?
поехал? Не ссы,
Whatever, we'll
щас
fix
вмиг
you right up.
вылечим.
The fatso spat though the gaps of the fatso spat through the gaps of his teeth and shoved me so hard that I hit my back against the tree.
Ну как,
So, feeling
полегчало?
better now? I can't be. Did Orisha already lure me into this trap? To these bastards? No, I can't believe this.
Глядите-ка, пацаны.
Looky here,
А
guys,
здесь он не
he's
такой
not so
боссый, как в
brave.
школе.
He's compared to the school.
Ага,
Total
вылитый
wimp.
терпёлка. Ты, сука,
You fucked with the wrong guy,
Не на
transfer
того руку
student.
поднял.
Simon was moving towards me, readying his fists. Yes! At the moment, another delinquent tracked past made sound whistle. Hustling boy lowered his hand. And the unexpected seemed like Bourbon wasn't the leader of his gang. In reality, they were all listening to the boy who was looking like a small carnivore with very strong, sharpened teeth. Probably decided to have some fun at my expense first.
Слышь, Гондон Батькович.
Whoa! Wait! Whoa! Hey! Whoa, I'm not gonna
Это
say
что ли
that.
твоя Алиса?
Is this your Elisa? Only then I noticed Sue behind my legs, trembling from the cold, snow plastered all over its fur. The loon squatted in front of the dog and beckoned it with his hand.
Ой, ты
Oh my.
батюшки. Алиса,
Lisa's come here
ко
with
мне,
you
сучка
flea-ridden bitch.
блохастая.
The others let out nasty laughs. The dog's ears perked up, and she started carefully moving closer.
Иди сюда.
Come here, you got some.
Иди,
I've got
иди,
something for
дам
you. No! The dog didn't even have a chance to sniff him, with the animal abuser caught in the ear and kicked it right under the tail so hard it flew to the nearest snow pile, squealing. Yo, please have Elise pop up right now. The whole gang burst out laughing, and my heart got encursed in ice. Even the birds that were perched up on the tree branches let off of frightened claws. At the edge of my vision, I saw something flash in the illusionary twilight of this sleeping forest, or what that just brushing moved their icy branches in the wind. Romoka. It wouldn't be able to stay shit after this. Let me kick his fucking thing one more time. 2 negatives will make a positive. But the stray was already nowhere to be seen.
Чего
What?
ты,
Are you an
баран?
idiot?
Втолкуй
Go
его
and
начальнику,
show the
где
floor
его
like
место.
4 eyes this place.
Только так, чтобы он
In
понял.
a way he'll understand.
Ага.
Yeah,
Да
he
не
fucking
конфетно.
owes you.
Этот очкарик
This
тебе при
wimp
всем
whacked you
классе
in front
всё.
of the whole class.
Да без Б.
Sure thing. Someone brought a sizable string ring with a geometric shape carved into it up on my face.
Ща,
At-
парашник,
in the
я
moment,
тебе
I'll
этой
hit you
печаткой так
Face
зарежу.
so hard,
Клеймо на
it'll
всю
leave a
жизнь
mark
останется.
for the rest of your life. Well, okay, wow! Where did all of my inner strength and bravery go?
Стой!
Stop. A whizzing whisper left my lips, and my head tilted forward, hitting Simon's fist. Red sparks flew from my eyes. Oh,
Яша,
giving me a hand. Whoa. Simon gave me a rough push towards the bastard with a slimly eyes, and he tripped me. I fell onto the sharp crust of ice, and the fatso stepped on my hand, preventing me from getting up. A painful groan escaped my throat.
Слыхали,
Did
как
you hear
заныл?
him whimper?
А ты
He's
случаем
actually
не
a-
педик?
Or something. Oh my god! So much language! I started to lose breath from anger and resentment. The pain was growing. My ear was hot and pulsing pain was shooting through it, like it was cut off, and a bunch of nestle was swinging to its
Чё
place.
молчишь, Антошка?
Why so silent, Antosca?
Отвечай,
Come
ты
on,
педик?
tell us why you're a... Oh my god! Whoa. At this moment I felt pure, unspidled rage and emanating from my anger. Yes! Like it sprouts ink, I rose up from the depth of my mind, failing in my thoughts.
Твари!
Morons!
Знаете, что мой...
Did you know
Мой отец
that my
тоже
dad
педик?
is also that? Simon burst out laughing. This became the last straw. Fear and anger were grappling inside me like a mad
Он
dog.
айкидо занимался. Поняли?
He knows a kendo, got it?
Он еще воевал.
He's a vet.
Таких, как вы,
He'll
с
kill
закрытыми
you like
глазами убивает.
you'll with your eyes closed.
Я только
Yeah.
слово скажу.
One
он-
word from me and he'll... Rima lifted up his arm, stopping my torment of lies, and made a couple of steps forward. Simon slowly backed off, giving me an opportunity to stand up. Did he believe me? Or was he confused by my face twisted with rage?
Воевал,
A
говоришь?
vet, you say?
Мой батя
My
тоже
dad also
воевал
fought in the war.
в Афгане.
In Afghanistan.
А твой?
And yours?
И мой.
Mine too.
Да, и в
Oh,
каких
really?
войсках,
And what
интересно?
force did he serve in? I stumbled, fear crumped my rage throat as I made it bleed.
Да он
He's a
фуфло гонит
He's full of
громко.
shit, Ramoka.
Бля, будуна.
Sure as fuck, eh?
Думал, меня так
Do you
просто
think it's so
развести?
easy to I'm so easy to trick?
Я тебя,
You can
сучонка,
I can see
насквозь
through all your
вижу.
lies, little bitch. There was a nasty smile on his face now. I didn't This didn't bode well for me.
Ты сам
Well,
себе
you've asked for
приговор
this.
подписал.
A teacher
Школе тебя
saved
училка спасла.
saved you at
Ну, а
school,
теперь
but here
всё.
you're
Хамать
fucked.
тебе. Во-во.
That's right.
Давай, Антошка.
Pray that
Молись, чтобы
that
твой труп по
you
весне
find your
нашли.
dead body come spring, eh?
Сидел бы ниже травы,
If
был бы
only
целочек.
you stayed silent, you wouldn't have lost a hair.
Жирного стукнул, одно дело.
Hitting fatso is one thing,
Но про Афган пиздеть, где мой
but
батя под
fucking around with
пулями.
stuff like Afghanistan, where my dad
интернациональный.
spent time after
В
fire
Даште Марго,
on
блядь.
international duty, is a fucking dashka miracle. I don't know what that means.
Сёма,
Give him a good
ушатай-ка его.
pounding, Samoya. The delinquents closed in on me again and ended up in front of Samoya. Blood was pumping in my temples. Branches were swaying back and forth as if whispered something giving me hope. I gritted my teeth, fighting the thought that I looked silly and took a boxing stance I often saw in the movies.
Хера ты, Майк
What are you
Тайсон.
fucking Mike Tyson? Yo. This was my first ever fight. I remember it for the rest of my life. If I don't kick the bucket, of course. At the edge of my vision, I noticed the darkness around us writhe again, as if someone was walking through it back and forth. I sensed Roma's claw grab at my backpack.
манатки,
Give me your
Антошка.
shit.
Махаться
I'll
мешает.
get in the way. I was about to refuse, unwilling to cooperate with the bastard, but then he finished the butterfly knife. Oh! Out of his pocket with one smooth motion, spun it as showing off and put the blade to my neck. Yeah, hi!
Слышь, фраер, расслабься, а то больно будет.
Hey, easy buddy. I can make it painful. I let out a cloud of steam instead of words. Myrtle pulled with all of his might, and my backpack ended up in his hands. Calm and relaxed. An envious smile on his face. He looked into my
Ты от нас
backpack.
что-то
Are you
скрываешь,
hiding
да?
something from us?
У
Some
меня в школе
rat stole
какая-то
my
крыса
school
сменку
shoes.
подрезала. Ща погляди,
Let's see if
может
it was
это был...
you. And what is
Опачки!
this? One gave me a delicious smile. Whoa.
Так,
So what do we
а
have
что это
here?
у нас здесь?
My texts and notebooks fell in the snow. He was holding my backpack in one hand and something weird in the other. It looked like a mask. One lifted it as high as if showing to someone else, to someone in the treetops in the twilighting among the trees. An old buddy mask. Long wore-out ears, rarely visible nose, and whiskered mane from on the sides. Where did it come from? Who put it there? Samyan laughed.
Новый год уже
It's
прошел,
way
мудила.
past New Year's, moron.
Или ты реально
Or are you
поехавший?
really a loony?
Это не мое.
It's not mine.
Да как не
How
твое,
come
а?
how come it's
Твоё
not?
портфель
It was in your
лежало.
backpack. Rumor was watching the scene unfold with an evil smile on his face.
А знаешь что?
You know what?
Надевай.
Put it on.
Зачем?
Why?
Надевай,
Because I'm
говорю.
telling you to.
Попрыгаешь перед
You
нами.
hop like a bunny for us.
Давай,
Yeah, come
давай.
on.
Или без штанов
Or we'll
домой
leave you
пойдет на.
paintless. Huh. Or we'll leave you paintless, huh? Pantless. Anything but this. What if someone from our class will pass by?
Не надену.
I won't.
Сёма,
So I'm gonna put it on
надень-ка
him.
на него.
Bishop rushed with his friend's side and took the worn-out mask from him and the bufflish bow. Then he passed it to Samoya, who was already rubbing his hand in appreciation. I looked around the pine woods, as if waiting for help, as the shadows that writhed around us would take pity on me and take my side. Branches looked like arms twisted in unusual angles. Blackened bark was their charred skin and the darkness was the smoke they produced. I can't run, won't get away, they'll catch me. And then,
Только учти, Сёма,
let me warn you, Samoya.
если он скакать не
If he
станет, ты сам за него
won't
поскачешь.
hop, you'll take his place. Got it?
Этот
piece
чмошника
of
не
shit.
станет?
Won't.
Да погляди на
Just
него,
look at
он же
him. He's a
дурик
total
конченый.
Этот дурик
This loony
тебе
has
уже
already
раз
smacked you in the
жбан
face.
Ромка прав!
Roman's right.
Давай,
Come on,
толстый!
Fatso. Assert your
Восстанавливай
fucking
авторитетно.
dominance.
Или сам у
Or
нас
we'll
запрыгаешь,
make you
так
hop
что
so hard
Титяндра
your
отцепится.
pig tits will fall off. He must indeed be scared of Ramonka. Samin swore silently and glared at me.
Вот,
Here.
это чтобы
It'll
маска
fit better this
хорошо
way.
налезла.
He hurled a huge fat spit on the inside of the plastic bunny mask face and put it close to mine. His spit looked like a squashed spider. Monya's face twisted and he spashed like a beast, like he wanted to tell Simonia something, but then he suddenly stopped. Semyon was still close by with a disgusting smirk on his face, and was terrible smell coming from his mouth.
Надевай,
Put it
баран!
on, fast, or you're
Оттурую.
dead. The mask almost looked even more disgusting now, yet despite everything, I felt like it was a chance for salvation. It could become my second skin, if only I was to put it on, if only my face was to touch its bumpy surface. I'm sure the fur will glitter, the ears will tremble, like they are alive. I just need to put it on. Ismail and his friends will be gone. Forever. Yo. Another one? Okay. Tell him to fuck off. For some reason, Ramon's disappointment when someone made me felt brave. Someone was wrong in their crew. Some old disagreement. I should crush this old wound upon open. I need to get into their heads, right into their skulls, their warm brains.
Знаешь что,
You know
Семен?
what, Simeon? My own voice, smooth and determined, was huge surprise. I stepped forward and calmly proclaimed,
Иди нахуй.
"Fuck off." I felt like the whole world was paused for a second and then unpaused right away. Simeon's pupils widened. The mask fell out of his metally hands. He took a while to process my words, looking stunned as if he was trying to solve a difficult math problem. But the answer he got made him joking, but this bustling veins on his forehead.
О,
The others just observed this scene silently, waiting for the inevitable payback.
ты
You're
трал!
dead! Yeah, right. Come get me. His voice tore off icy crust from the nearby branches. It rained down with a melodic laugh. And then I heard whispers from the treetops, from holes in the ground, from animal lyres. As if Alyssa was in the snow piles, like a prompter in his toll booth, trying to get through to me. With no sign of fear, rather with a tinge of playful rage, that's how the low hum sounded to me. I stared into the clearing between the trees. Yes! The orange spot flashed there. A fox, absolutely regular fox, stepped out of the bushes. Aww! I blinked in bewilderment. The animal fell off its tummy and was starting back at me with its burning eyes. Its furry tail was sweeping the snow left and right, raising the little white powder.
На меня смотри,
Look at me,
падла!
bitch! I was still looking past him at the fox was smiling at me. She grinned with all her white teeth, while digging a hole in the snow pile, moving her paws as if dancing. Her sharp face was covered in snow, whiskers and trembling. The fox put her face to the ground shining platters of his eyes and filled up with liquid silver. I returned to my gaze to Simeon's twisted face. He was growling something unintelligible. The fox backpedaled. The fox backpedaled and disappeared into the darkness. And the forest breathed at me, whispering, "Tell the pig to shut up." I stopped my own cheek to chase away the unfamiliar voice, but the message still lingered in my subconscious. This hint was my chance. I stared instantly at Simeon's nose. He was almost offing from anger. I directed my words at him. "Shut up, pig."
Заткнись, свинья.
Simeon looked paralyzed, as if the medium Alan Kumchun hypnotized him, stripped him of his will. I felt the aftertaste of Aya's gum in my mouth. Berries. I felt like I pulled a card from some greased deck, and it turned out to be a trump. Yo. My brain was at its limit. Paulina's words about Simeon getting worse since he moved here flashed in front of my eyes like subtitles in a movie. All the pieces fell in place. My Joker went flying into his pimply face. He was speaking slow on purpose, dragging out every syllable.
Есть у меня
I suspect that you had
Ты
a
не
reason
просто
to
так
transfer to
перевелся
another
в новую
school.
школу. Сбежал, да,
You fled, right?
Как крыса
Fled like a
сбежал.
rat.
потому что
Because
сверстники
kids
бывают жестокими. С
can be
теми,
cool
кто не
with
такой,
those
как они.
who are different,
С теми, кто
who's
толще их, например.
fatter or weaker
слабее.
than them.
И ты решил
So you
издеваться над
decided to
другими,
bully
как
others
издевались
just
над
like
тобой.
they bullied you. I saw Simeon Adams' apple twitch like it was a pump action rifle getting reloaded.
Ты
You're
отыгрываешься
trying
за
to get
старые обиды.
payback for the old wounds.
Хочешь казаться
You
тем,
want to
кем не
pretend that
являешься.
you're different now,
Но знаешь,
but you know what
ничего не
nothing
меняется по
changes
щелчку
at the
пальца.
snap of a finger.
Знаешь, кем ты
Should
был?
I tell you who you were? The forest held its breath, listening in fascination.
Знаешь,
Should I
кто ты
tell you
есть?
who you still are? Guys?
Пацаны, еще как...
Bashir was about to come to his friend's aid, but Ramoska stopped him, whipping out a controlled look. Bashir turned around and put his hands in his pockets.
Продолжай, Тоха.
Go on, Toya. One word reckoned from the rough trunks.
Знаешь, кем
Should
ты
I
будешь
tell you
всегда?
who you are or will always be? Someone looked around helplessly.
Второе имя.
Your second
настоящее
name,
имя,
the true
которое
name
дали
that
тебе
your classmates
одноклассники.
gave you? Why do you... Moko and Bosa look at Simeon like he was their prey now. I even thought I saw them lick their pursed lips. The wind was also full of anticipation, dragging my scattered textbooks across the road. A pig! My thunder scream endorsed through the forest. Trees enraged enjoy it. The echoes repeated it over and over, doubting, even tripping it. Moko grinned with all his teeth. Simeon's hands fell into his sides. He was on the brink of crying. I used this to my advantage. Yes! Yes! I threw the strongest punks I could muster. Oh my god! I was much stronger than the one in school. Yes! I remained my fist into the scared face, and it punked a cracking sound. His simply cheek danced like jelly under my fist. Simeon let out a sigh and popped out into the icy road. He was touching the place where I hit him. Still obvious that what just happened, and how did it come to this? After looking at him for a while, I realized I was smiling. Fatso returned to his senses and threw himself at me, his face twisted with anger. But I dodged his charge quite easily after the great practice I had playing with Aisla. Damn! He fell into the snow and landed right on the pile of dog feces. This made him squeal in
Ай,
agony.
красава, Тоха! Думал, ты
I
сосунок, а
thought you
он
were
как жердяю делал.
you were a wimp, but you've gotten the Fatso a good whipping. Someone stared, sobbing, after he realized the distress of the situation. Fuck!
Сука!
What
Чё я
will I
бабушке
say to
теперь
Grandma?
скажу? Она меня убьёт,
She'll
когда
kill me
увидит.
when she sees this.
Чего ты там
What
скулишь?
are you whining about?
Тебя с парашей
Get
не
your head
слышно.
ass out. Get your head out of your ass. Simon's hope attempts to clearing his throat caused a fit of goldiness by a bush. I also smiled, angrily twisting my lips.
Мастёвый
Lucky fucker, eh?
А ну вставай,
Hey,
скачи, как
Get up
зайчик.
and hop like a bunny.
Только желательно подальше, а то от
Just stay
тебя
away
уже
from
дерьмом
us.
несёт.
You stink of shit.
О!
Ew. Oink. Fuck you guys. His eyes, red from tears, stopped on me. I didn't even have time to erase the smile from my face when Simeon lunged at me like a hawk and clawed at my face with his twisted fingers and growled fingernails. I threw a kick towards the layer of the fat overcoat. At the same moment, the world became fuzzy, and the black trees and fences of my classmates all burned.
А чё на это скажешь,
How do you like that,
сука?
bitch? He threw up a hand holding my glasses victoriously. But his triumph was short-lived. Two blurry shadows rushed forward. Someone's former friends? I heard the familiar sound of someone being slapped around.
Не
This is
по-пацански.
against the
Поступаешь,
rules,
гнида.
asswipe.
А ну гони
Give us
линзы
back the
назад.
oculars now.
Дерись
Fight
по
like a fucking
понятиям.
man, eh? Judging from Simeon's sighting and grumbling, he didn't agree to his friend's terms. What the fuck?
Вы чё тв- Ой, бля.
Ouch, ow!
На лоха
Betraying me
позорного меня
for this piece of
променяли.
shit?
Ой, да пошли вы
Fucking
в
you,
жопу,
aren't you?
тоже мне
Are
друзья.
we even friends anymore? Boink. A huge figure trembling in the snow barely managed to break out of the rain, punched and ran his hills, dissolving in the twilight.
Завтра в школе тебя выцепим, хрюнди!
We'll get you at school tomorrow, Porky.
Точно,
That's
точно.
right.
За базар
You'll answer
ответишь
for
на.
this, eh?
Горло тебе
I'll cut your
перережу,
throat, you hear me?
слышишь?
I mean, started throwing pieces of ice and Twitch hurling mockery.
Свинья!
Porky. The snow rustled. The two boys, clearly out of breath, approached me. I was finally able to make out their faces clearly.
Мои очки.
My glasses.
Блин,
I'm gonna curse under his breath.
гондон
The fucker
этот
got
стащил.
him.
Зато мы
At
его
least we
всыпали
whipped his
от
ass real
сына.
good, eh?
Завтра
He'll come to school with
с
a
таким
shiny-
фуфелом припрётся от
shiner this big. You let me out, threatening laugh. And hyenas in the Lion Kid would have envy a laugh like that.
Ну и
Oh
дела.
boy.
Тоха,
Can you
Ты без
see
очков
without your
хоть что-то
glasses,
видишь?
Toya? A
Немного.
little bit. A hand holding a red rectangle protrude from the mist. Moko was offering me a cigarette,
угощайся.
my treat. I started trying to make out the brand, even though I didn't know anything about cigarettes. I haven't tried to smoke yet, and I didn't really want to start. I wondered if they would keep hanging out with me if I would adopt all of their habits. After a moment of hesitation, I shook my head.
Спортсмен, что
Into
ли?
sports, huh?
А ты в глаза
Are you blind
долбишься?
or something?
Не видел, как
Didn't
он
you see
Семёна
how
четко вмазал?
he thrashed Soyman?
Да базара ноль,
Real deal,
Mortal
Mortal
Kombat.
fucking Combat.
Тоха, у нас Рокки
Toya
Бальбоа.
here is Rocky Boya,
Тогда уж Иван
more like
Драго.
Ivan Dorenko.
Курим одну на двоих,
We'll
гони
spit
же.
this one, give me a light. and pulled out a cigarette with his lips and scrammed to find the lighter inside his pocket.
Тоха,
So Toya,
что я сказать хотел?
back to what I was saying. Don't
Не
be
держи
mad,
зла,
bro.
брат. Мы тебя на
We were
вшивость
just
проверим.
testing you. I mean,
то
your
очки
glasses
эти,
and
ещё
this
и
mask.
маска.
We're a little giant, Tobus. And Ruben smacked his lips, taking a long puff of the cigarette.
Меня, кстати, Ромка зовут.
By the way, he squeezed my hand so hard that his fingers hurt. His palms full of dry, torn blisters impaled that he wasn't wearing a tracksuit or
Это
nothing.
вот Бяша.
And this is Poygrass.
Ты не очкуй.
Don't worry, we'll have to
Со
talk
свиньей
with.
мы
We'll have a
лично
talk with Porky.
пообщаемся.
He'll let out a cloud of smoke in my face, with instant made me cough.
Ага.
Yeah,
Пойду пока сумку соберу.
I got it.
А то темнеет.
I'll go gather my stuff. It's getting dark. I plowed to pick up I bowled to pick up my now empty backpack and look for its contents, hoping that my new buddies will disappear when I turn around. But they just stood there, passing a cigarette back and forth. Two small showelless with a small silhouette with a small light wandering between them, with a pine trunk as the backdrop. They were waiting for me to finish packing up my textbook while whispering something to each other. Bruno was only talking about the time, though Bruno had just constantly sniffing his running nose and mumbling in agreement. At the moment, I saw the old batter bunny mask from the paper mache among the snow covered in notebooks. What the heck? Its empty eye sockets will be filled with anything, with any eyes, but this mask looked like it only wanted mine. Where did it come from, and why is it in my backpack? I picked it up with utmost care, as if it could bite my finger off at any moment. It was just a carnival mask with a frozen spit on the side. Still, something felt wrong about it. Something was writhing inside it, underneath the crust of old newspapers. I could hear 1,000 of tiny bodies rustling in the trembling fur. Something was trying to chew its way out. Maggots. Yeah, thank God you didn't put...
Готов, Тоха?
You ready, Toya? You better be really glad you didn't put that shit on, my dude. That wouldn't have been good. Ruma's face pulled me out of the nightmarish delusion and threw the mask away in horror. Somewhere I won't be able to see it anymore. The inwards were twisted from disgust, but I stood up trying to show it. Whether there was maggots were real or just some kind of delusions, I didn't care. All of this was way too much for a single day. I wanted to go home as soon as possible.
Ладно, пацаны,
Right,
мне
guys.
пора
I
уже.
need to go.
До свидания.
See ya. I held out my hands toward the two silhouettes to say goodbye. A couple of dark, thin lines trembled in front of me. They stood without moving, as if studying me.
С кедрами закорешиться решил.
Decide to buddy up with a Siddur.
Мы здесь вообще.
We're over here. I realized that Ramoka's face was coming from behind and turned around embarrassed.
Деревья
Trees
хреновые,
make
кенты.
for shit buddies. That's fucking... Yo.
Ты не ссы.
Rex, we're just
Мы тебя до
escort you
дома
home.
доведем, а
You're
ты
as
как
blind as a
слепой
newborn
котенок.
kitten. Without us,
Так
you'll
здесь
end
живем
up
и
dead around
сгниешь.
here. A cigarette butt hit against the stump of a flurry of sparks and started sizzling in the snow nearby my feet. The boys let out a strained laugh and took me by the arms. When we were leaving the clearing, I tunneled around in hopes to see Elisa, or at least some orange dot. What if... But I only saw the rumbling tractor that was creeping from the corner. Hi! There's a person there. This is so weird! We were going alongside as still fire rode in silence. I felt The silence felt oppressing, coupled with my lack of vision. So I
А
spoke.
почему тебя Бяша
Why
зовут?
do they call you Bayasha?
А,
The Byrak kid just smirked in reply.
Потому что я
Cause
волк
I'm a
ловить из
wolf
корня.
in sheep's clothing, eh?
Брешешь.
Bullshit.
Пургу гнать,
Fucking
то он
around
умеет.
is what he does best.
А звать его
He's
так,
got a
потому что
nickname
блеет как
because
овца.
he bleats like a sheep.
Все после
I
того, как из
started
черного
after he
гаража живым
returned
выбрался.
alive from the black garage. But his face controlled at the words. I couldn't see it even though the veil of blindness. He swayed. I started mumbling something unintelligible.
Видишь?
See?
С ним так
Happiness
всегда,
every
как
time
об этой
someone
херне
brings it up.
заговоришь.
Ты сейчас о чем?
What are you talking about?
Ты серьезно
Did you
про эту
really not hear
страшилку
about
не
that
знаешь?
horror story?
На черной
The one
улице,
pitch black street.
в
in a pitch
черный
black
подворот
alleyway.
стоит черный
That a pitch
причерный
black
гараж.
garage.
И он
It
знает
knows
о тебе
everything
все.
about you.
Где ты
Where you
живешь,
live, what you
что
like,
любишь,
who are
с
your
кем
friends.
дружишь. Наверняка
Are you
слышал о
sure you
пропавших
haven't
детях.
heard about the missing kids?
Это тут не
This
первый
has
год
been going on
происходит.
for a while here.
Все
The
местные
local
знают,
folk
кто здесь
who
замешан.
know who's behind all of that.
Даже
Even the
взрослые.
adults.
Вообще,
You got
везет
lucky.
тебе. Ты
You
вон в
live
лесу,
right on
считай,
the edge of the
живешь.
forest.
Он к тебе
This
так
thing
просто не
won't come
сунется.
there without good reason.
Тупо сечет,
It
что
knows
среди
that
деревьев будет
it'll tuck
выделяться.
to foreign among the trees.
А у нас это
While
хрень
in
может
your
где
area,
угодно
this
поджидать.
piece of crap
Иногда в конце
can hide
переулка или
anywhere, but
возле
it's at the
дома.
end of the alleyway or near your house.
А еще
Also,
идешь такой
you'll
себе ночью.
be just
И тут
going somewhere
раз.
at the night, and bam,
Он стоит.
you'll see
Где
it
совсем
in some
недавно
place
пусто
that
было.
was empty just a while ago.
Дверь открыта.
Its door
Внутри
open,
мрак.
perch dark inside.
И тут
And
как?
then Baisha pulled up his cape over his head and started howling in the high trembling note, trying to silence Ramoka.
Ладно,
Fine,
ладно,
forget it.
проехали.
I was trying to process Ramoka's story, but I couldn't figure out what to think of it. During the short time I've been in the snow-laden village, I realized one thing a lot of people had some sort of experience with, they couldn't explain. I looked at Baishas, who was pit-pattering to side.
Тоха, а вот
Tell me,
скажи,
Toya,
нахрена
why
ты сюда
why the
переехал?
hell did you move here? I have you deep inside looking at my feet. Somewhere down below, the tips of my boots scooped of fog. I spoke words that I recited countless times.
У отца тут
Dad
новая работа.
has a new job
И
here,
мама в поселке
and my
раньше
mom used to
жила.
live here
Давно еще при
back in
Союзе.
the Soviet days. There's
Здесь же
nothing
нечего
to
делать,
do
только
here
гнить.
but riot anyway.
Ну или как
Or,
Бяша,
well,
или
like
сам
Busha
шастать.
here, wander around the forest. Fear showed his face from under his hood, like a snail crawling out of his shell, and listened in.
Он у нас турист.
He's a camper, see?
Летом целую
Spent
неделю
the
в
whole week
палатке
in the
жил.
tent last summer.
Здесь, рядом.
Here, nearby.
Прикинь?
Cool shit, right?
Хотя
I mean,
от мамки его
with a crazy
звезданутый
old
я бы
woman
сам в
like
лес
this,
бежал.
he'd also flee to the forest. We kept going on, but it felt like the forest was sliding by. Pines were the black keys, and the space between them the white ones. The thicket was playing its old creepy melody, the melody of roots, bare caves, and forgotten Tainja sleets. Snowflakes flew around, creating a disturbing illusion, that somebody was wandering the forest. Somebody tall, unnoticeable, ready to camouflage as the tree or a snow pile. And then, when nobody paid attention anymore, they'd just continue moving along the road. But it was just a trick of light. There was no one there. At least I wanted to think that. Uma suddenly stopped and said,
Слышите?
"Hear that?
В лесу кто-то бродит
Someone is
походу.
snooping around the forest." The skin under my clothes started itching. My stomach started aching. We looked the way Ramoka was pointing,
Высоченные, причем
really
с нашей
tall,
скоростью идет.
matching our speed. There was no tall shallots behind the massed pines, just shadows creeping in a semi-dark slow shadows, fast shadows, hungry shadows. The snow that fell silently from the branch made me shiver and bite into my lip, as if something huge lifted off the tree and flew away, maybe even towards us. I picked up a pine cone from the ground and threw it into the thicket.
Эй!
Hey! His shout reached as it hit the tightly sprang drum and echoed, mocked. Ramoka, then the silence rang again.
Кто-нибудь
Did you
видел?
see that? I shook my head. The only things I could have seen were vertical strokes of trees in the darkness and the snow that was hazily shining in my companions. I remembered the rough textured trunks of spooky lichen and the icy bits of bottoms of the ravines.
Пойдемте скорее.
Let's move faster. The
вечереет.
sun is setting. I was grabbed by the elbows and dragged along towards the forest, toward the pointy spines of branches. The sun had finally sunk behind the green peaks. The darkness withered, spread toward the shoulders, and started spreading like smoke. It started snowing, thick, sticky flakes, white flies following the scent of dead meat. My vision had become a small island awash by the dark waters. I was grasped by the same worrying feeling that I had in the morning. I felt that somewhere far away at the edge of my comprehension, I had a very calm and silent flute playing. A sound fragile, like ice, much above the dormant waters of a bottomless lake. I scraped inside my ear with my finger to get rid of adoring hallucination. The forest was silent. I imagined a child walking at the night under a watchful eyes of pines.
А вы знали Вову
Did you
Матюхина?
know Vova Mishkinian?
Мальчика, который
Boy who
пропал
went
недавно.
missing recently?
А разве мы не его ищем,
Weren't
сладкий?
we after him? Whoa! Wait! What? I suddenly stopped staring at me person. What? I shuddered and stopped staring at the person who was guiding me. It's evident in her fox mask. Wait! The girl was gently holding my elbow.
Что ты
Wait,
здесь?
where? Wait. Huh? Huh?
А ведь я тебя
I
потерял.
lost sight of you.
Потерял.
You did because you weren't careless. I squinted in suspicion.
И давно ты
How
за
long were
нами
you
идешь?
following us?
Что значит
What do you mean,
давно?
how long?
Я
I've always
всегда
been
была рядом.
by your side.
Да и за кем?
And who's
За мной.
us? Stun looked around but couldn't find me. And felt the cold finger of my wrist.
Пойдем
Let's
же.
go.
Мы собирались
We're going
искать
to
Вову.
look for Vova. Without a chance to catch my breath, she started dragging me along through the forest. I was enveloped by the smell of Tanger's coffee and firecrackers. I felt like I was a small kid again, being led into the unknown. I saw the dark shadows of trees ahead. The brushing hedgehogs, yeah, that's right, were wary, showing us their spikes. Something rectangular appeared in our way, like a small box. Where did she come from? I became Whoa.
Self-voicing enabled.
What?
I became petrified.
Okay.
I touched the edge of my eye,
How did I do
pulling
that?
back the eyelid.
Shut up.
Self-voicing disabled.
Thank you. Okay. Pulling back the eyelids as if I was trying to correct my vision. A garage made of metal rose up the windfall. It was so big, not huge, impossible to move without special equipment. Its walls were printed black, even blacker than the darkness around us. The fox sniffed around, but it seemed like her mask twisted in disgust.
Это
This
здесь.
is the place. The worried voice of my companion scared me even more than its horrifying metal box.
Здесь
Here.
я слышу
I can
его
smell
запах.
him. Smell him!
Может,
Maybe
Вова
Vova is
играет
playing
с
hide and
нами
seek
в
with us,
прятки,
and
и
he
он
decided to
решил
hide
спрятать внутри.
inside. I felt like the smoke from tentacles that split off the garage, searching for something in the windowed leaves. The tentacles slithered along the snowy blanket, getting closer to our feet. And there was a scary screeching sound coming from the other side of the huge black metal gate. Someone or something definitely waited for us inside. Knock. Hi! My nervous moments probably looked like that of a marionette dangling in the hands of a puppeteer. This just got really weird. I stepped towards the garage, holding my breath. Where did she come from? It was the two boys that were trying to beat me up, and then it was them? So then, did that beating up never happen? But I would have had my glasses then. And give the sheet of metal a small knock within my knuckles. Knock, knock. And then jumped back. For a moment, it seemed like someone growled in the pain inside the metal walls. I heard rusty meat hooking jingle on the thick metal chains, oaking something huge, and crawled open the black blades. Nothing happened. My heart was racing. Nothing. No. I just turned back to the garage, so I took a couple of slow steps back. Oh! Whoa! Whoa! Run! Stumbling over the overplace, was rushed into the night, swimming in with the shadows. I ran behind the crooked pine trunk with the leaves behind my side. Oh! But after a minute, I realized that the girl was gone. The forest was mumbling, ancient, squeaking, tickling, rustling. I froze. I didn't know how much time had passed before I realized I was standing completely darkness in a circle of trees. There were shooting up their trunks high into the sky. The world around me moved and vibrated. My ears were plugged up from all the rustling. The treetops melted into the cosmic darkness. The brushes became cages, their hostages suddenly set free. It felt like a paw with giant claws could find its way out of the darkness and grab my stunned face at any moment. I heard a scream from somewhere far away. Anton! Someone was looking for me, just like that boy who went missing. Tears stunned my eyes. A heavy drop fell from my lashes.
Anton!
The scream was closer now. From any moment, I believed that I was about to be saved. I'm here. Ah! One of the trees moved. It wasn't Rumoko or Blasha. It was an adult, tall with long arms. Many shadows that looked like dogs crawled behind it, but those beasts were much larger than Zolka. Ah, the forest was dormant no longer. This true face was revealed. I stood there like a deep screwed by light, an incoming truck, and the beasts all stared at me. In the semi-dark, without my glasses, I could see very little, but I was still more than enough to freeze in terror. A foul smell of animal piss and wet fur enveloped the clearing and was creepy possession with a giant at its head of movement towards me. My legs gave way, but the fear fell on my knees into the snow and looked like praying that the figure trees into the darkness. Ah! I didn't dare lift my eyes, so when he got close, showing me with his stench, for a moment I thought that his legs were covered in gray fur. I shut my eyes so tight the red circles started dancing inside my eyelids. I don't want to look, but I still couldn't hear anything. His breath scratched against my ear like sandpaper. His voice was deep, hoarse. No, it wasn't a voice, a roar. I finished Grandma's count out of my memory. Ashes to ashes, dust to dust. Ashes. Ah! I got his stench and roaring in reply. The words could never protect me against the claws and fangs. I was helpless. And then I heard a familiar, sweet sounding voice. Come on, do it. Get a taste of him. No. Something hot slid across my throat like a melty slick rope. Someone's tongue. I told you, master. He's our bunny.
Позаботься о нем.
Please take good care of him. From the narrowest embraces, from barely lifted eyelids covered in the tumbling fingers, I watched horrifying Cholette tower over me. I was taking in the smell of Neil's composed pits and moss. In front of me stood a scary horned beast with a royal pursuit. His posture told me he was awe-inspiring, noble. His horns supported the clouds, and his popped out, piercing my eyes that were ready to burst from the fear without a thorny stare. His hands were full of gifts. Candy fell into the snow, sparkling with fancy wrappers, silver-packed chocolate bars, and whippa chunks sticking out from a snow pile with plastic stick. For you. More candy fell at my feet. A toy gun knocked against the ice, and even though I was paralyzed in fear, I still remembered the missing boy. Vovo had a gun exactly like this. The doll fled nearby, was staring, raising the toy, spitting atop a teddy bear, and torn up the nose. Redhead Carson, a proper toy soldier with a flag, fire truck, Cosper duster plane. The toys weren't covered in blood, but my imagination panting them with red spots and crimson leaks all on its own. I honored Shadow covered the treasures that once belonged to the missing kids. My hairy hands reached out into the surrounding darkness, took out a mangy bunny mask that was haunting me, and forcefully pulled it over my face. The shadows of the beasts around us slowly and gradually stood up on their rear legs. And then a light hit my face, shattering the monster's figure in it too. Put my hand down to protect myself. Flashlight's ray slid down. And
Антон!
Hey, Dad!
Вот ты где.
There you are.
Ты совсем
You are
сдурел?
out of your mind.
Это вообще
What
как
is this all
понимать?
about? I was staring at my dad, completely stunned in the space where the monster was just a moment ago. And the clearing was enveloped in darkness again, but could still barely make out the outlines of toys and candy in the snow. And I'm sure if I was brave enough to get close to the brushes, I'd find an animal print there.
Язык проглотил.
Cat got your tongue? Your
Одноклассники твои
classmates
к нам
came
пришли.
for us.
Сказали,
They
ты
said
сбежал от
you
них
ran
в
away
лес,
from them
самую
deep into
чащу,
the
и...
forest, and
Что это за дрянь
what the
ты
hell are
напел?
you wearing? I pulled the mouse down from my sweaty face and threw it into the heap of toys. Branches cracking the distance. I pressed myself into my father's chest, engulfing by fear. He started looking around, alerted. I spoke in a tone voice that was much more nervous.
Так, пойдем
Okay,
отсюда
let's get out of
скорее.
here.
Мать узнает,
If your
такой
mother
нагоняй
learns
нам
of this
устроит,
sight,
мало не
she'll
покажется.
be so mad at us. We'll never forget this day. I reached out to my father, still feeling the chilling embrace of fear. I grabbed his firm hand, felt up quickly, pulse in my fingertips. I stood up and wobbled around behind my father, following his barely discernible footprints. Back to civilization, back to light, back to the road where my dad parked his car.
Чтобы дома ни
And
слова,
not a
ясно?
word about this at home. Got it?
Ни единого
Don't even
намека,
hint
где я
at where
тебя
I
нашел.
found you.
Да, пап.
Alright, Dad. He was holding my hands as if it was most precious thing in the world. That Dad kept telling me how afraid he was losing me or Roya. But this wasn't that strictly like an animal tongue fear. His fear was noble, crystal clear, diamond. And I just nodded in reply and kept moving to my feet. And then I heard a familiar voice coming from behind me.
Помни. Пока
As long
ты
as
со
you're with
мной,
me, nobody will lay a
никто
finger
тебя
on you
здесь
here.
не тронет.
The car sped towards our house. I pressed my cheeks against the window and sat at a sort of building amongst the trees that sat darker than at night. The garage was hidden inside the thicket in metal cribbit. I almost felt like it was following us. At the moment passed and the building disappeared around the corner, I gulped down something bitter. Whoa. All the white snowflakes just kept dancing in the staring sky. The house, I'm home, yay! I needed to be home. Home, 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 home.
А вот и мы.
We are here. Where we are. Look at the cat. Look what the cat dragged in. Mom was going down the stairs, piercing Dad with trademark glare. Her face showed something between wrath and condescension. Suddenly, her gaze shifted to me and stayed for a dangerously long time.
Так, я не
Wait,
поняла.
hey,
Антон,
what's this?
а где
Where are your
очки?
glasses?
Потерял?
Anton, did you lose them?
Да в
This
школе
dummy
поди
probably
забыл,
just forgot them
простофиля.
at school. A venomous pause followed.
Весь в тебя.
He's your son, alright? Dad glared at Mom, and this mischievous winked at me, reminding me of our deal.
Ну ничего, есть же
Well,
запасные.
he had spare
Проживем
glasses, so he'll
как-нибудь.
manage somehow. My parents stood in silence a bit longer, and both of them wanted their minds their own business. Bye! Arya threw herself into my arms before I could even take off my coat.
А я лису увидела!
I saw a fox! Surprise aching into the shotgun blast. I could only flap my lips in reply. A cup shattered into many little pieces without a loud thang. My mom left and fallen from her hands. Her face was pale and her eyes were glued to the ground. This pause was a split second, felt like an eternity. Then my mom spoke with disappointment. First, it was an owl. Now it's a fox. Will you ever get tired of this?
Правда, правда!
But it's true.
Такая...
So it was.
Она у забора стояла,
She
на
stood on her
задних лапах, совсем
back
как
legs
человек.
near the hedge and like a person. No!
Меня позвала,
No!
а тут мама вышла, и лиса
The
убежала.
fox called my name, but then Mom came and she fled. There was no fox. Stop making things up.
Не подходи к ней.
Don't go near her. If it was necessary, I'd already to shake my sister as if she was a doll from.
Ты чего,
What's
Тоша?
wrong, Tosha?
Не подходи,
Don't go,
слышишь?
you hear me? Mom entered the hallway and gave me a surprised look. I hesitated.
Ну, лиса
Well,
ведь
fox.
укусить может.
Well, a fox will bite you. I remember fairy tales where foxes used to kidnap children. I imagine my elite liberated carnivorous running through the night forest with dangling sack in her hands.
Это ж была не
It
настоящая
wasn't a real
лиса.
fox.
Расскажи ему.
Tell him, Moya.
Она на двух ногах
She
ходила,
stood up on
а
two
ещё
hind
была
legs.
в
She wore a
платье одета.
dress.
Только она была
And she
взаправду.
was real.
Видишь?
See? Mom showered us with a tired smile, as if it was only explanation needed. I also forced myself to smile. My mom was like a thin piece of soap right before it dissolved completely in your palm. But when I was left alone with my sister, I whispered,
Еще раз
"If you
увидишь,
see her again,
беги.
run." Thoughts of the forest became bombered me like rain of candy and toys. There was a hairy shadow standing in front of me, towering over the treetops. Who is he? What happened to the forest? What's happening to me? I shut my eyes and threw the vitamins in my mouth and washed them down with water. Please stop driving me mad, please. I barely managed to force myself to do homework, but those math problems just refused to be solved. The numbers in my notebook trembled around and mixed in its whirling dances, sometimes running all over lines. My head became heavy. From the pandemonium, I almost dropped into the chain of numbers. My eyelids fell like they were tiny weights tied to them, the type used in grocery stores. At the right moment, I surrendered and closed my notebook, and memories of the day started flashing before my eyes. I was in the middle of the stuffy school corridor. I could see the literature classroom from here. The faces of dead classical writers of our portraits, to perm and real pose of our homeroom teacher, Livla Pavlova. And around the corner was her daughter, Katenya, a snitch and a gossip, engineering waiting for me.
Эй,
Hey,
новенький.
transfer student.
Новенький.
Transfer student.
Чего
What
тебе,
do you
Кать?
want, Katenya? She got on her tiptoes, started swaying, while holding her hands behind her back, and asked me, with all snake file on her face, "Can I ask you
Скажи,
something?
пожалуйста,
Why did you
а чего
transfer
это
here?"
тебя к нам перевели? А?
I might have told the truth about this to Ponya, but Kenya here, well, sat on the market for 3 koptayas. It would be the same as printing all my thoughts and hanging them near Voya's picture for everyone to see. So if I reverted to my answer, I knew by heart.
Это все из-за моих родителей.
It's always because of my parents.
У папы тут новая
My
работа.
dad has a new
а
job
мама,
here, and my mom. But Katenya didn't even listen to me. She rushed towards the perked up ears of her friends, whispered something while stealing glances at me, giggling.
Да,
Yeah,
да,
right.
конечно, конечно. У нас тут
She
совсем
takes
за дурачков
us all
держит.
for fools.
Я вот
You've
слыхала,
heard,
что это все
I've
из-за
heard
его
it all
отца.
because it's of his father.
Он
He
недавно
crossed the
кому-то
road
крутому
of some
дорогу
big shot,
перешел, и
and
теперь
now
они
their
всей
family
своей
is hiding
семейкой в
in a
нашем
remote little
захолустье
village.
скрываются.
Неправда!
That's
Ты
not
всё
true.
врешь.
You're lying.
А слышали?
Oh,
Слышали,
and did
как
you
он
hear
буквально
how
просто
he
так
hit
стукнул?
Bourbon out of the blue?
Это каким
What
надо
kind of
быть
freak you
уродом,
must be
чтобы
starting
в первый же день
bu-
так над
start bullying your
одноклассником
classmates
измываться?
from day one?
Прекрати!
Stop,
Ты
you
же
know how
знаешь,
it
он
started.
первый начал!
И будто
And
этого
if that
мало.
wasn't enough, there are rumors that
Ходят
he's hanging out
слухи,
with
что он
delinquents from
спутался с
the Pinkerton
ворюгами
gang.
из Ой,
Be careful with
девочки,
your
сумки
bags, girls.
проверяйте. Того и гляди,
I
в
won't be
гардеробе
surprised
вещи
if
начнут пропадать.
things start disappearing from your wardrobe.
Будем
And
знать.
we'll know who to
Петрович
blame.
дружками
Perfiton and
постарался.
his friends.
Да-да-да.
Yes, yes, yes.
Замолчи!
Shut up.
Заткнись!
Look at him
Вон
scream,
как
as if
раскричался-то,
something
будто
bit him.
ужаленный. А зрачки-то,
His pupils look
зрачки
as how
какие
wise they
широкие.
are.
Опять
I
чего
hope he
доброго
won't
с
go
катушек
insane
слезет и
and
руки
resort to
распускать
violence
начнет.
again.
Не зря
I
же его
mean,
мать
there must be a
таблетки.
reason his mom always feeds him those pills, right? I just stood there in confusion, trying in vain to understand how she was able to find out about my medicine, and stared at me even more possibly horrifying among her chatter.
Да-да,
Yes, that's right.
он такой
He's
же
as insane
ненормальный,
as a little-
как и
as
его
his little
сестрица.
sister.
Представляете,
Can you imagine that
какой
she says a
сумасшедший
human-sized
дурочка
owl
каждую
visits her
ночь
every night?
приедает сова ростом с человека.
Yes, that's right.
Только что
But
ты
not a
видишь
single
здоровых
healthy
людей.
person has seen it,
А
and
это
this
твои
supplement
просто
believes
глядели.
her.
Нет,
Can you imagine
ну,
that?
представляешь?
And then I caught a single kind of from the smirking crowd.
Это правда, Антон?
Is that true, Anton? Yo,
Неужели
are you
действительно
really?
тебе
Are
не
you
здоровится?
unwell?
Полина,
Oh, please,
послушай меня!
listen to me.
Как же,
Yeah,
как
right.
же? Не
Don't
слушай
listen to this
этого
liar,
говна, Полиночка,
Petrovna.
ты еще не знаешь.
You don't even know
Он тебя на другую променял.
that he cheated on you with someone not from our school.
На
with-
А,
Lisa?
Су. М?
Slouch as someone kicked her in the stomach, and then burst into tears and fell out of dirty floor, wailing and screaming. No, no! Why her, Anton? Why? I couldn't understand her reaction, but I still rushed to Polio's side before getting shoved violently by Katenya. Get your
Убери
paws
ее
off her,
свои
you
лапы,
monster!
чудовище!
Rage was building up under the veils of my fear. I slowly rose to the cloudly mist. I felt my upper lip give creep, slowing my
То,
teeth.
что твой отец
The fact
бьет
that your father
мать,
beats up
еще
your
не
mother
дает
doesn't
тебе
give you the
права
right to
поднимать
do the same
руку
to
на
girls.
девушку.
My fists became hammers. I couldn't unclench them. Nobody can speak out my family like that. I came to my senses and already laughed with angry at Taya. He went nuts, nuts! Help, help! Petova went completely nuts! Or insane. At the moment, the crowd around her became louder. It started whistling and roaring. And growling. The slender silence of the room became larger. Running, they shot upwards toward the ceiling. Turned into a giant black forest, cracked full of faces. I shrank into a tiny ball of fur, started shaking in fear before the might of unclear trunk that belonged to either trees or human. That was impossible to
Вот
tell.
ты и показал
So you're finally
свое
show your
животное
animal
нутро.
nature.
Трус!
Coward. Twin's face was twisted by jubilation and ecstasy. Anton. Why her? No. What makes her better than me? Tanya screamed while choking on her tears.
Вот!
He's just an animal.
Животное!
An
Сюда!
outsider. The scary flapping of the wings came from the forest. The pain giant white ears descended somewhere from above, and I dug myself into them. Please, wake up. I jumped up, almost falling out of bed. Apparently I was thrashing around for hours on this sweet spoke speech. Oya screamed, pulled him out, set me free, and from the tentacles of fear. Please, wake up, wake up. I took my eyes a while to focus on the silhouette near the window. Oya's voice was distant. My head was still ringing after the fight. Sounds got distorted, as if my ears were stuffed with cotton. My sister was distressed as ever, and kept repeating the same phrase. The owl, the owl! Please, I'm scared. Her tears poured on my heart like boiling water, but I felt almost thankful for the owl's appearance. Otherwise, the scared Oya wouldn't have woken me up. That's so true. You would have been just dreaming about that, thinking that shit's
Оля,
real.
я сейчас.
Wait a second, Oya.
Хочешь, я тебе
Want me
морозилку
to read
почитаю?
Mazurk to you?
Подожди.
Give me. I placed my bare heels on the second floor. I felt around for my glasses. Remembered Simeon, his underhanded act inside. Please, please, look! She couldn't tear her eyes off the window, as if it was a staring contest. I found the light switch in my hand, and the lamp poured bright all over me. Got up from the bed. My vision fooled me, moving the window closer to push further at the next moment. My sister was just a blurry spot. I hesitated, but stepped
Ой.
forward. Oya?
Что там?
What's there? What happened?
Ты хочешь,
Do you,
чтобы я
kn-
открыл
do you
шторы?
know? Do you want me to open the curtains? No, please don't. The owl is there. The voice was coming from behind. I turned around in frozen terror. Oya stood in the doorway. Who? Who were you talking to right now? She stared at me with eyes that were red from crying, with her hands wrapped around her shoulders. Her voice was nervous as she was afraid to hear my
Я
answer.
разговаривал с тобой.
I was talking
С
to
тем, кто
you,
притворился.
to someone who pretended to be you. I lunged outside my window, creaked ominously, and if something huge was sitting on top of it. That thing that pretended to be Oya started pretending change shape, going into scary heights under the light carnivorous moon. Please? No, I'm good. I don't want to come closer. The voice didn't belong to my sister anymore. The thing was hiding behind the curtains, got tired from pretending, making me look like a fool. I pinched myself as hard as I could, hoping that the silhouette near the window was just a continuation of a nightmare, a hallucination brought up upon the cursed house. And those don't bite, they do they. The silhouette was towering before me, under the vial of mist. I heard Oya's shrilling scream when I had knocked on the window. It came to get us. Another knock stepped back into the middle of the room. As I exceeded nooks where I could hide from this horror. Knock, knock. The sound was sharp, metallic. The lamp started shimmering. Then I suddenly lightened the whole room, and I went out like a candle under strong wind. The filament inside the bulb strapped with a ringing sound. The darkness that was waiting from that exact moment poured from all angles and engulfed me. There was only this window left in the whole universe. Moonlight poured through, painting everything, the colors of bones that were exhumed from the crypt. Oya started squealing and pressed herself into my backpack, seeking protection. And then an eye burning with a nervous fire started at us from the window. Knock, 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 knock! No, it wasn't trying to break the window. It was toying with us. I just need to knock, drive it. It just kept knocking, driving us mad. As if the giant clock was measuring the time for us to pendulum swing up against the abyss. Go away, shoo! Leave us be! She was screaming in deception, her hands clutching my arm like a pair of pincers. Come closer. I could barely make out the two pair of wings that spread out above the black spot. Tell her, Anton. Tell it that it won't be a bad girl anymore. Never, ever. I just want to leave. I just want it to leave. Please. The moonlight suddenly disappeared in the room, distant into darkness. We couldn't see the burning eyes anymore. I swallowed the tiny lump that struck my throat. I stepped towards the curtains, enhanced and called the brisk death. Oya was standing behind me, mumbling, "I'll be good. It'll be good. I'll be good." The bleak window of creeping closer. Curtains rustled. I reached out to move them aside so I could look in the fear of my eye. At the moment, I heard a noise coming from our parents' bedroom. Without thinking, I pulled the curtain to side in one swing. Nothing. Though there was something shining on the ledge among the scattered feathers. My glasses. The ones that Shimeon took from me. How did they get here? Was this a gift from the growing night? Did that owl really bring them here? I looked at the front yard, at the four bleeding clear and toothy floors. Not a soul, not even a hint or a late guest. Only the old lamppost napping in the lone winchman across the snowy desert. The dry window frame creaked. I tore away the insulin tape and then strips of glued newspaper. I barely managed to open the window. The frost stung me with its little needles. The paintings on my walls moved from the draft. I touched my glasses, sure they wouldn't melt in my hands. But they were real. My brain was scrambling for an explanation. Simon and his gang just pulled a prank on me? Was that it? That's it. A smooth white blanket was glittering under me like a street lamp outside of our yard. If anyone wants to get close to this house, to climb the pipe of the ledge of my window, they would surely leave footprints. But there were none. I curiously took off my glasses. My wrist was still intact. Nobody pulled me into the darkness full of rolling. Why aren't you in bed? I swayed from surprise and almost fell out the window.
Совсем сдурели?
Are you out of your mind?
Жарко, что ли?
Did it feel hot in here?
Не болели
Did
давно?
you catch a cold?
Там
The owl was here. Torsha chased it away.
А ну-ка,
Go to your
марш
room
спать к себе
immediately.
в комнату.
Get into bed.
Оставь
And
ночь.
you. Mom paused, directing her seemly eyes at me. She was thinking of a punishment equivalent to my crime. In the end, she just waved her hand and took Oya by the shoulder and left, throwing gloomy words in my way.
Завтра
We'll
поговорим.
talk tomorrow. I managed to get the frame back into place with a couple of hits pressured in the latches and all strength of my fingers to the master. The cold left the room, but the fear was still present. I placed on my glasses, and I started studying my reflection in the window. It didn't look like a face, more like a depth mask. Just like one that boy from the nautical board. That night, I was on the edge of joining him there. And a black and white face was staring at me through the clearing between the students' heads. And it wasn't Volva. His face was right beside it. It recognized the fact she's in dim skin. Simeon. Burned face printed under glass in some piece. Yo. Yes! Yay! That! Oh! Jolly hababa! What just happened? Okay. So, if you see right here, it is saying this game is still in early access, so there will be an episode 3 probably, and trust me, I will be playing it. Holy crap! That was so good, and way longer than I expected. I think I've been recording for like 4 hours or something now. But holy crap! That was amazing. So, he's now dead, or missing, and there's girls appearing, and I don't like her at all. But I hope you guys like this video. What will be happening is, obviously, I don't have Resident Evil yet, but what's going to happen for this week is I'm going to try to play this game for every ending. I know there's actually a couple endings to this. This is one of them. The different paths I can choose. So I'm going to go do I'm going to do a short video, probably next time, of just me going through and finishing different things that I haven't seen yet. Hopefully you guys will like it. I hope you guys loved this video. This was freaking amazing. I loved it. I did not expect that. Oh, yay. And look, the fox is there and the other one's there. Oh, yay. It's so nice. So, wow. So I hope you guys loved this video. Holy cramoly. This was amazing. I don't know what else to say. This was freaking great. Let me know if you guys want me to play this again. I definitely will, because this game is freaking awesome. But yeah, just let me know. And as always, I hope you guys liked this video. If you did, please like, comment, and subscribe. And I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace and goodbye.